Hello and welcome everybody to this Appy Hour. We're excited to be joined today by Jonathan Hightower, who is at Woodstock High School. Is that correct? And today we're going to learn all about GimKit. So Jonathan, let me make you host, and we are eager to hear from you.
Hi everyone, I'm Jonathan. I am really excited for this opportunity. Thank you for allowing me to take a little bit of your time and show you something that I am really excited about, something I use in my classroom all the time now. It's something I've actually found in the last year, and it's GimKit. And so let me show you a little bit. I've created a little presentation for it. Let's see. Okay, so I'm not gonna go into the actual PowerPoint because I find that it's harder for me to see if somebody types something in or wants something. So I'm just gonna kind of go through it like this. So a little bit about me before I get into things. This is my 7th year of teaching. I've been at Woodstock High School the entire time of my career, and actually even when I was a student, I graduated from here. So that has afforded me some really interesting insights and working in the same building that I graduated from. I do teach social studies.
Had a great student teaching opportunity at River Ridge High School. We have to say that part.
Yes, I did. I did. I teach social studies. I've taught a little bit of everything: world history, government. I'm teaching U.S. history right now. Of course, I've had plenty of electives as well. So I've had my hands in a lot of jars, and it's been really, really fun and challenging. I graduated from Kennesaw State with my bachelor's, Berry College with my master's, and then Piedmont College I just finished in December. I just graduated. And so even though I've not been to Reinhardt, I do have a lot of familial ties. My parents met there on campus, and my sister went there, started her bachelor's there, and is now getting her master's there. So I do have a real bond with the college. So really, my whole thing was going into this year, I wanted to change something up. I have been using Kahoot really since my first year of teaching. And my first year, I was really excited about it. It was fun. It was new. The kids enjoyed it. They could use their phones. Maybe some of you have used this tool. But over the years, I've really fallen out of love with it. My students didn't enjoy it anymore. I realized that even if I started a game and the entire class joined, you get halfway through it and half of them dropped out because they've missed a question and they know they're not going to win. And so I wanted something different. And so I did some research through all kinds of different things. I came across quizzes, Oodaloo, Quizlet, and I hadn't found anything I truly enjoyed that kind of fit everything that I wanted. And when I went through my master's and my specialist, I came across this EEE framework for instructional technology. And this is the why we bring technology into the classroom. It's easy to bring technology in, but technology without a purpose is just using technology for technology's sake. And so I wanted to engage the kids. I wanted to enhance their learning and really extend it beyond the classroom. And so quickly, I want to talk about these words. I know, you didn't come in here for a lecture, but I think it's important to look at why we use technology. So engage. This is probably the biggest one. I want my students to be excited when they come in the classroom, and focus on the assignment, gets rid of distractions, and really causes a shift in behavior. Instead of sitting in the classroom and just listening to me talk or just kind of being there, truly engaging and being in the middle of it. And honestly, sometimes it's leading the instruction and pushing it forward, and it's not so much on me. Enhancing. I wanted to really have them understand with this technology than just traditional tools, giving them a review guide over the test, a very sophisticated way of learning, and really able to demonstrate that and even get feedback in that understanding and know that they are truly learning. And then extending. This was huge. Being able to learn outside the classroom. This was probably one of my biggest arguments against Kahoot, is I didn't feel like I could do a Kahoot and give it to them and let them do it outside the classroom. They had to have multiple forms of technology, a computer and a phone, to be able to do it by themselves. And a lot of them aren't going to go through that kind of trouble. It's hard enough getting them engaged in the classroom. Why are they going to do it outside if it causes even more pain and struggle and things like that? So I wanted them to be able to use this tool, whatever I use it for, really simple, and excited to do it, and also to kind of use it in everyday life experiences. And I will tell you, every single one of these things that I showed you, GimKit does. Okay, so this is GimKit. This is their mission statement, to create memorable classroom experiences. And I'll tell you, it really, really does. So what this is that it is a Kahoot type thing. That's probably what you're most familiar with. You play a game, okay? But it is completely different in that you can choose lots of different games, and they are constantly changing games. The classic mode, I'm going to talk the most about that because it'll help you understand really all of them. But you can set a boss battle where one person is against the entire classroom. My kids have even wanted me to be that boss, and they try to beat me and all that kind of stuff. There's a human versus zombies mode where it splits the classroom into two, and they're trying to harm the other people and have them run out of health, so to speak, and be the last one standing. You guys have probably possibly heard the new game that was all the students were playing this last semester, was Among Us, where there's an imposter and you're trying to figure out who it is that's trying to sabotage the group and all that. Well, they've created an Among Us game called Trust No One. So they really do listen to what's going out in society, what students are interested in, and try to add this. This is so new that I've actually not even used it. I'm gonna be playing that next week for my review. So how you play it, the classic mode, it's really a cash-based system. You go in, you answer a question, and if you get it right, you get money. Okay? And the more you get in a row, the more money you get. And then what you end up doing is you're able to, after a certain amount of time and after some money that you've gained, you can go in and shop. And when you shop, you actually can buy power-ups. And this is how you end up getting even more money. So at the beginning, on the very first question, you're getting $1 per question. But then if you get it 2 in a row, well, now you've gained 2, and then now you've got $3, so on and so on. By the end, I've got some students that have over $500,000 in 10 minutes because they've bought power-ups, because you can get more money per question, and streak bonuses and multipliers and insurance. And here's where it gets really, really fun and competitive in kids. That they get crazy in the classroom. I've never been in a classroom where it's so engaged about the content and what they're doing at the moment, is they can even mess with each other. So instead of buying a power-up that helps them, they can buy an icer, which, they can look on the leaderboard, which I've kind of got an example over here. They can look at the leaderboard, see who's in first, and they can ice that person, and they can't answer a question for 20 seconds. And so they can mess with each other and all that kind of stuff. And it's just so much fun. The kids really enjoy it and get competitive. And like I said, I've played with them before. Sometimes I'm the commentator. I'm that person that is talking, instead of in a football game, but talking about the game. And Jordan has gone into first place, and Sam has just bought another multiplier. She'll be coming back up the leaderboard real soon. And so you can do it multiple ways. And it makes for a lot of fun. Something else I was looking for, as I said earlier, I wanted something that was easy to assign for at-home use. I didn't feel like Kahoot did that. but GimKit does. I can create an assignment. I actually just did that earlier, about an hour ago for my my test that I've got next week. I've gone ahead and made my GimKit. I set up the date for when it's going to be due. You can set up classes, which I've not personally done because Cherokee County does not want us to use student data. But for your colleges, possibly y'all would be allowed to do that. I don't know what kind of requirements y'all have for that. And then what's great is I can go in and just see how they've been doing, how long it took them to complete. I can set a target, a cash target, 100,000, a million, however much I want. And then they go. They do it on their own. They click the link, it takes them straight to it, and they play by themselves. They get to go at their own pace. And that's something I really enjoy about this game is instead of Kahoot, where there's 30 seconds between every question. And so somebody goes really, really quickly and clicks it, and then they sit there for 30 seconds. And then we might go over the question for 30 seconds. And then, we're going to the next question. It's an entire minute since they've even been able to move on and go at their own pace. GimKit, they just go. They go at their own pace. They are, of course, rewarded if they get the question correct, and you want to take enough time to do that. But you're also punished if something is done wrong. I'm just going to go ahead and warn you. Our school bells are about to go off in a second. But yeah, so in this, they get to go at their own pace, and you can see how they did. And this button right here actually lets you go into a report and pull up the exact questions that they missed and how they struggled. And maybe they saw the same question multiple times. Did they get it right the second time? This is what those kind of reports look like. And this worked out perfectly. I went back through and looked at some of my old reports, and I found this student that played it 3 times in a row. So this is his first attempt, second attempt, and third attempt. Same question bank, same everything. And you can see how his first time through, he didn't do that great. It took him 26 minutes to complete. He only did it at 67% accuracy. Not that great. He was relearning the information. Second time, he did it in less time, and he went up tremendously in that accuracy, 82%. And then by the third time, he cut his time in half and went up to 98% accuracy. So the data speaks for itself. That's so much of what we're told now, right, is data-based instruction. Use it to drive instruction and see where they're missing things. And this is what that report would look like. This is pulled up from his first one. And so you can see he answered 141 correct, 71 incorrect. These are, of course, some of the ones he missed, and he only saw those questions once. But by the end, he had cut his time in half, gone up to 98%. And then on that same exact test, which I think this was actually our midterm final for the semester, he got an 89 on the test. That's a fantastic grade. And honestly, that was about on par. No curve, no anything, but I'd never seen grades like this on a midterm before. And I wish I could say it was me, but I have to give a lot of it to this new review tool that I've been playing with. This was the last test I gave before switching to GimKit. I'm not happy with that average. It's okay. It's not great. I don't like that many people failing and stuff like that. But afterwards, here are some of the percentages of tests since then. And this is an on-level class. This is not honors or AP, which I do have an honors class, and those percentages are even higher than that. I've even started joking that I'm going to have to make my tests a lot harder because they're making it seem too easy. Like I said, the data really does speak for itself. They enjoy it, that they want to play it. And I even have some student quotes here. I had them go into forms and answer some questions, what they liked, what they didn't like, which ones liked GimKit more, Kahoot more, why they liked it, things like that. And so I'm not going to read through all of them, but I'll tell you, most of them are saying that they like that they can go at their own pace, that they don't have to wait for a question, or they feel like they only have 30 seconds. And so they feel rushed because everybody else has answered, and I'm still trying to read through it and make sure I get the correct answer, and things like that. I get a lot of, you can kind of see what you miss as you go along, and you even have a chance to go back through it. Because a lot of this, especially the classic mode, is you just set a time limit. You put it, I've found that about 10 minutes is perfect. And so they might see the same question come back around. Well, you don't do that unless you play the Kahoot a second time. And honestly, it's hard to get people to get in there in the first time. So they're definitely not playing it a second time. So they can see questions over and over. And yeah, it's just increased pace. It's competitive. It gets kids up and really into it. Last thing is pricing. Now, this was really the reason why for a while I didn't do this first. I did try quizzes. I did try Oodaloo because they were offering some free things, especially last semester. The price was driving me away for teachers. That's just the way it is. It's $5 a month, billed annually, about $60. I didn't really want to kind of spend that kind of money. But after that last test, as I said, I was not happy about that. I didn't like to see that percentage. I felt like they could do better. I felt like we had done better. So I decided to try the 30-day free trial. I didn't even get all the way through the 30 days before I just went ahead and bought it because I was so excited about it. I loved it so much. The kids loved it. And what's great is they do have group rates for school or department. Unfortunately for Cherokee County, as I said, there is a way that you can set up classes. And because of that, Cherokee County has not allowed us to buy it as a department or use department funds for it. They don't want us using student data and things like that. But I have set it up myself. I don't set up the classes, but it would be very easy to do that. Especially, I feel like if you have a college campus where the kids use their student email a lot. So that would definitely be something you guys could do.
Jonathan, do you encode the questions and the answers, or is there a bank of information?
Perfect question. That was actually what I was going to share with you guys next. I was going to show you how you could create your question banks and all of that. But before I do that, is there any questions about anything I've said so far?
I have another question about question banks, but I know you're going to go in there. Is there a chance for students to develop their own questions?
I'm sorry, say that one more time.
Is there a chance for students to develop their own questions?
That is a good question. I'm going to say no in the way that I've done things. Now, if you set up classes, possibly, I could definitely see that as something that they have or would be willing to add. And I'm telling you, even since I've bought this, I think it was in October, they've added so much to it and they continue to add. So if enough people ask for it, I'm sure they probably would add a function where you could do this.
And Jonathan, I'm sure you've tried it on different devices. So it works on the phone, a Mac, and a Dell computer, so to speak.
Yes,
Perfect.
yes. It works perfectly on everything that I've ever tried.
Good.
Anything else? No? Okay. So this is what it looks like inside of GimKit. These are some that I have created. I've even gotten my wife into it recently, so she uses my account. She's a 7th grade language arts teacher at ET Booth, so she's big on it, and her kids, I think, love it even more than mine. So I've been happy to hear that. So I'm just going to show you the one that I just edited recently. This is my World War II one. So the way, or actually, you know what? Let's just create one. So you would create a new kit, so to speak. You could call it whatever you want. I'll call it practice. You can set up whatever language you would like, subject, and then use a little picture. We'll do that. And then you can add questions in a bunch of different ways. And this is another reason why I really, really like it in comparison to Kahoot. I felt like you always had to type things in or copy and paste it in, and it took a lot of time. But in this, you can add questions by just typing straight in. You can also do the text input. I have not tried this one yet because honestly, I think it would count off for spelling and things like that. And I would rather my kids just focus on what the correct answer is. So a lot of multiple choice. You can create with flashcards. And what I'm talking about here is if you use Quizlet. Okay, so I'm going to show Quizlet real quick. What you can actually do is export if you have a bunch of vocabulary terms, and then copy all this text over. And paste, and it'll create questions for you. Okay, and okay, let's say you don't want the definition to be there, you want it to be flipped. You can flip term and definition. Let's see if it'll let me preview. There we go. Now, unfortunately, the only problem I have with this is I've noticed that it doesn't really go in any kind of order. Like, here we go, economic crisis between the stock market crash and all that. Well, you've got the Great Depression, and you don't have anything else that really sounds like it, or you could have three people's names there. So you would have to go back through, and once you create this, you can go in and edit these questions afterwards, which is nice. And I would definitely recommend doing that to just make it sound a little more, because here's a perfect example. President of the U.S. during the Great Depression, you've got President Roosevelt and then the Great Depression. That doesn't make sense. So, but at least this cuts down on some of the work of creating these. Kit Collab, I have not used this. I'm guessing this might be what was asked about earlier, possibly, of making question bank as a group, but I would have to do a little bit more research. That's something a little newer that I've not looked into yet. Question banks, I use these all the time, and I love it because you can just come in here and search anything. Let's just go World War II. And there are lots and lots of other people who have already made question banks and borrowed from each other. And all I have to do is come over here and press add. And it's in mine. And it's great. It's fantastic. It makes things so easy. And here's something else. And I know this is not a good practice. I'm telling on myself here. But when I used to play Kahoot, I actually used questions from my test that they were going to be seeing the very next day. And this is how I know Kahoot wasn't working, because I was still getting plenty of kids missing those questions. It frustrated me beyond no end. Now, I'm not using questions that I use on my own tests. I'm using questions that are very similar or, based around the same concept, and they're doing better than they've ever done on tests before. So yes, you can add all questions. You can just copy an entire question bank. You can pick and choose. Okay, that's the only one I really liked from that one. Let's go to this one. Oh, that's a perfect question. Add it. They've made it so easy. And then import from spreadsheet. I've not used this either because you have to have it in an Excel spreadsheet and have your question in one place and your answers in another, your answer choices in another. But if that's something that you already have created, it's a simple add document, finish, and it's that simple. So I've really enjoyed this tool. I think my kids have enjoyed it even more. I told them today that we're going to be playing next week, and they got so excited. I will say, and my wife was telling me this last night, was some of her kids don't like it, and because they play it all the time. Some teachers use it as a time filler every single day. Okay, let's use this as a review over the information we just went over every single day. They get tired of it, just like they would with anything. Any kind of video game, they're going to get tired of it if they play it constantly. So I use this for review for tests, and that's about it, just to keep it fresh and new. And I try different game modes to keep it fresh and new. And it's nice because they're constantly adding new game modes. And so you can always say, hey, well, I know we've been playing the classic mode a lot. Let's try the Among Us mode. I told them that today, and they were like, can we play it? And I was like, no, we've got other things we got to do. But it's a lot of fun. It really is. And I've enjoyed it, and kids enjoy it. Very, very few complaints about it. Most of them, let's see, I've got my forms here where they answered. I asked them what was something that they would change. A lot of them said nothing. Some said that the UI, the way that you progress or level up is a little clunky. And I tend to agree with that. But once you get used to it, it's not a big deal. Most of them actually said the music. It's super repetitive. Add new music. That is something Kahoot does. Is they add new tracks, or around the holidays they'll change that song to sound, like Christmas music. But for the most part, a lot of them say no. I will say, okay, you tell you the answer you picked, even if you got it right. I agree with that one. That's good, and I love that a student is seeing that and wants to know, okay, what was it I chose? Let me make sure I know that and remember that, in case they were guessing, possibly. But I think that about covers it. And then you press Finish Kit, and it's there. You can set up folders. So like I said, my wife teaches 7th grade ELA. We've created a folder with her. So even if she doesn't see the kit that she's created, because I've created 3 since then, she clicks on that and she finds her kits, and it's the same with mine. Here's where you could create your classes. As I said, I don't use this just because school doesn't really want us to, but I could see some definite benefits of that.
So all of the different games are just a means of presenting these questions, right? It's
Correct.
a different way of doing the same thing, a different outcome goal,
Correct.
I guess.
Yes. It all gives you the same kind of money system. This is brand new. I don't even know what this is, so I can't even tell you what the draw that is. But all of these games, you answer the question correctly, you do it in a row, you get more money, you can buy power-ups, and then there's just different ways to use that. The floor is lava. The entire class is a team trying to pour water on the lava and keep it down so you can continue to play longer. The infinity mode, I didn't really care for this one, but you can buy the different infinity stones that goes with Marvel, which is super popular. How much can you make? Like I said, the boss battle, you're still just buying power-ups and stuff. So it just changes the game mode a little bit, but it's using the same questions. It's the same, just clicking the correct answer and buy more and more and more. Any other questions? Anything?
You don't have to pay extra for the games that you use, right? Once $4.99 covers everything.
Correct. Yes.
And can you go back and, let's say you've done all these reviews and now you're going to have your final exam. Can you go back and combine them to make a huge review at the end?
Yes, and I actually did that myself for my final review. I went back through. Okay, so let me pull this one back up. So edit, add from question bank. So this is everybody's. Here's mine, and so I can go back through the kits that I've already created and made and add back based off of that. So here's imperialism, and yeah, I can add that to this question bank as well. So that's how I created my midterm review, and that's how I'll create my EOC reviews as well.
On the student end, what's it? They follow a link and it goes to the app. They follow a link and it goes to a web page.
It's a web page. There is an app as well, I believe, but just like anything else. So, I mean, honestly, we've got some time.
Yeah.
If you want, I could put 3 minutes on the clock and you guys could try it out, see what it looks like.
One more question. Do they have to have a code to get into the room?
Yes, it does create,
Okay.
just like Kahoot. It's very similar in that it gives you, a 5-digit, 6-digit number. They plug it into GimKit.com and boom, they're in. What's something y'all want to be tested over?
I was about to say, I'm scared I'll lose. I don't know if I like this game.
But I'm telling you,
Yeah.
you learn quick, and students that were doing so poorly on tests and didn't understand and didn't really care, they're learning to the point where they're doing great on tests. So
Yeah.
even if you're not familiar with a subject, I could do commas, commas, commas. I'm not that great of a writer, but you get those questions and you see the repetition and things like that. I will say with this, my rule, because this is something I'm using for tests, however many questions I have on the test, I try to have 2 questions on this GimKit over that same thing, just so they see the same type of question, the same material, possibly worded a different way. And so it does show you a little bit, because it's easier if I've got a 10 question quiz on here and they've got 10 minutes through that, they're going to see those same questions 20 times by the end. And that at that point, they're just regurgitating what they remember. They're not truly learning the information, but most of the time I've got anywhere between 50 and 80 questions. And so it does take them a little longer to get through, and they might only see a question, the same question twice, but they might see the other type of question that's asking the same thing, but just differently. They might see that one a couple times as well. So it does help with that truly learning, not just remembering thing. So this is what it would look like when you go in. I click classic mode. I can change it to a race. Everybody tries to get to $1 million. Time. We come together as a group and are trying to get to a certain cash dollar amount. This is where you would choose your class. You can set up starting cash, answer check, so you can even go in and see if you miss something. You can turn on and off the music. At the end, you can clap if you liked it. I don't know. I always leave that one because they try to see how high they can get before I close it. I don't know. They can join late. So even somebody that's having computer problems, you're not having to wait there for them. They can, okay, I've given you a couple minutes. We're going to go on in. You come in when you can. And let's say you've got a class that, I don't know, is a little rowdy. You've got some people that don't get along well, and they're going to just be hitting each other with the power-ups, whether they're winning or not. You can turn those off. So the only power-ups you can buy are the ones that help you. You can't try to ice someone or anything like that. So that's nice.
That's good to know. That was going to be my next question. How you keep them from bullying each other?
Mm-hmm. I'll say I've not had that issue, but I could definitely see that becoming an issue with certain groups or something. So that is definitely something I like that they have just in case. So let's say 3 minutes. And so this is what you would type in, gimkit.com live, and you just enter that code and it puts them in, and then you start game and they just go. And you can play this on, like I said, on your phone, tablets, computer. I've had this up and playing on the same computer at the same time. What I would do is I split my screen, and so I've got my smart board over here, and so I have the scoreboard up there and I'm playing over here, and every once in a while you look around and see, okay, how am I doing compared to everybody and how much time's left and things like that. It's a lot of fun. And this is something you could do on your Zoom calls, which is nice. You give them this code and they can play, and you can share your screen and have the scoreboard, and like I said, you can play that color commentator like a sports game would. All right. And like I said, you can always join in late. I'm going to go ahead and start it. The code will be up in this top left-hand corner. And good luck. I'm actually going to turn off the music just in case you come across questions. So after you get one right or wrong, it'll open up this tab that says shop or something like that. And so you can shop. I think your first power up you can buy is at $5. That's one of the things that I think my students don't like and I don't like, is that you have to kind of memorize when it is you can buy something and which one you can buy and things like that. But once you kind of get the hang of that, you can go in and buy things and get more and more cash. So at a certain point, you want to stop buying, because if you buy a second before and you go down to $0, doesn't matter where you were, you lose. So that is something you want to be aware of.
So far, it looks like I need to go back to high school.
Yeah, I'm not doing well either.
Yeah, I was hoping for commas, but
So what do we do when we get to the upgrade area? Like, how do we get back to the questions? Or were there only just a couple of questions?
No, there's I think 50 something questions on this one. So if
I found it.
Something, I think there's like a button in the top left-hand corner.
Yeah, the hamburger. I found it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. And that's some of the things my students are talking about when they're talking about the UI, just how you can click and get back into the game mode real quickly. You go in to buy something, you realize, oh, I don't have the cash to do that. You have to press like 2 or 3 things before you can actually get back into the game. So little things like that, they can clean up, and I'm sure they will as time goes on. It becomes more and more popular.
This is so funny to see y'all's competitive spirit here. Keith is up the game.
How do you see the leaderboard?
Is that not
on the
being
bottom of my
shared
screen?
on the screen? Let's see. Right now, Debbie's in first, Mason, Kimberly,
Look, I'm
Lydia.
lost.
I gotta work
But
harder.
it's changing constantly, and there's 20 seconds left.
Go. You're it's $92.
How do you go back and forth? Like, I got stuck here at the money per question multiplier.
Okay, so if you look in the top left-hand corner, there should be a little button there that looks like a menu.
Oh,
You click that, and then you say, go back to game.
Go, Mason and Lily. Debbie, you're second. Go, Debbie.
Oh, come on. Yeah.
Yes, third place. Woo!
You gotta let the host
Wow.
win.
Yeah, because look at the money amount. You and Debbie are tied.
Oh, that was fun.
That's, yeah,
Figure out how to
that's
get back
a good
into the
job. 3
questions.
minutes. That's a very good job. And then I click the report, and I can see
I'm
I want you guys to see who missed zero
I'll cover
questions.
names. How about that? That way.
Who's at 100%? Keith, look at that 100%.
I was
Wow.
going to say, you guys look and see who missed zero questions.
It's all about the money, Keith. It's all about the money. You got to
You
buy
can
those
see how they
POWERUPS.
performed. And so you can even go, okay, so Keith is there. We can go in and we can see exactly which ones that he got correct. Of course, he didn't miss any. Good job.
Oh, he had different questions than we did, or at least
Yeah,
that
he
I
did.
did.
He got the easy
And
Ah.
that's what's
You-
really
yeah, you
nice.
got the
Is
easy one.
everybody's kind of going at their own speed. Everybody's got different questions at the same time, so they can't even look on with each other and try to
Oh, thank
cheat
you.
off of each other. They're on their own. It really is an individual thing, but competitive against
Thank
each
you.
other.
Thank you. Yeah.
I think we
Have
need to
any
do
of your
this during
students-
our faculty senate meetings.
Yeah. Have any of your students had an issue with that? With the fact that they're answering different questions at the same time? Like, were any of them complaining, this is not fair kind of thing? Or did you not really see that?
No, I've not had that issue. Of course, y'all played for 3 minutes. When you get to like the 10-minute ones,
Mm-hmm.
and okay, so if you're doing a 10-question quiz, then yeah, I probably would put only
I got Lila Jane.
3 minutes, and then they're probably going to run into the same question anyway. Based off
From off
because
that
they're all
Georgia
it's all
Bulldog
off the
side.
same question banks. It's all going to come up eventually. It's just, of course,
Yeah.
I've got a 50-question quiz that y'all did in 3 minutes.
Yeah, that was fun. Thank you for the demonstration.
You're welcome.
Very cool, especially since I won.
I wanted to test to see what happens when you lost a question, when you got them wrong.
That's right. We're testing complete functionality, Keith.
Exactly. Yeah. And you can even set it up to where kids can go negative. I probably wouldn't do that just because some of them might get frustrated. But again, I've not had kids quit this. Even in a 10-minute game, they're playing the entire 10 minutes. They want to play. Even if they're losing, okay, I can still go at my own speed. And that's something they really, really like about it.
Very neat.
Well, thank you very much, Jonathan. This was a lot of fun. And it's good to see some new tools. I could see like language courses, especially those kinds of courses where students just have to do the memorization or else they can't progress. There are some things that we prefer to have a little bit more manipulation and synthesis of the material that we're teaching. But then there are some things where, you just got to know this. And I think something like that, especially for that content-driven mastery that's necessary, I could see this working very well, especially with the competition aspect to it, and especially with the variety. It might seem like you're playing a different game whenever you have human versus zombies. And so that's just enough. And that's the other thing I was thinking about. They used to love Kahoot, and now Kahoot's, how much of that is novelty factor? And so GimKit has some novelty factor built right into it. They can keep it new and fresh just by changing the kind of game you're playing. That's pretty cool. That's thinking. That's innovative.
And I keep thinking if you're doing an online assessment, then you have just taken out the whole cheating factor if the questions are not the same from person to person.
Yeah. I like
Keeping
the
the
individual
integrity of the
aspect
test.
of it too. Yeah, the competitive aspect. I've done virtual escape rooms for my midterm reviews, which is very similar. Answer the questions as quickly as you can, and you get a free pass out of class. And this is definitely something I can imagine doing, and even more interactive because they were grouping up. And whereas this is individual, they're going to want to, beat the time clock and get out of class and get the questions right. So I really like that.
Again, thank you, Jonathan Hightower. This was fantastic. This is what we wanted. We wanted to see what everybody is doing. We wanted to learn what's working with you guys in the Cherokee County School District. And we hope, we extend the invitation. Come join our sessions when we're presenting, when our faculty are presenting. We've done some new things too. The idea of Appy Hours was we think about the things that we had to do because of the pandemic, and what are those tools and those tips that we learned, and we're like, this really works. I'm going to keep doing this even after I get to have them back in class at a chalkboard. This is something I'm going to continue to do. So that's what these Appy Hours are all about, and it's what our summer teaching and learning conference is going to be all about. It's called Control C. What we learned, what are we going to copy? What are we going to save, basically, from what we've done over the past year, even when we don't have to be virtual all the time? What have we learned that just works, helps with student engagement, helps extend the classroom? So thank you so much for your presentation. We do have Terry Hancock, I believe. Is that right? Yes, Terry Hancock. She's coming up at 4:00, and at 4:00 we'll be hearing from Terry Hancock about Nearpod. So if you are available, please join us at 4. And so from Reinhardt to Woodstock High, we say thank you, and let's do this again sometime.
Thank you, Jonathan.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.